going, say, from SEAL Team 1. It was very highly disciplined SEAL team. Training was very strong, very effective. I went to war at SEAL Team 1, loved it, learned a lot there, and that qualified me and caused me to perform very well in selection for the Tier 1 level at DevGru. So I've got nothing but respect there, but the budgets are so radically different. You're talking a budget that's larger at a Tier 1 unit than all the other SEAL teams combined,
right,
as far as annual budget. So there's no comparison. Instead of having one support person for every 10 or 15 operators in the team, you've got 5 support personnel for every operator.
Yeah,
it's a radically different environment. So you're given a lot more responsibility and no excuse for failure. Basically, anything that you think you need as an operator to prepare for an operation can be made available to you, if within reason. But I mean, it's pretty big stuff.
Yeah,
you have no excuse for failure. It's on you. Big boy rules, and the physical demands are greater. The responsibilities inherently larger. And so going from what I call a regular SEAL team, from SEAL Team 1 to DevGru, riding around in a 6x, an old Vietnam era 6x, is one thing, or in a minivan, or you're riding around in nice rental cars because you've got sniper rifles that, will only fit in certain trunks, and you have to be able to lock them up at certain places. And you're staying in hotel rooms instead of barracks on bases. Yeah. It's just a different budget, and you're able to live differently. It's much more of a civilian life, only you're doing super crazy spec ops stuff at night. You're going to jump out of something at 35,000 feet in one case with the full combat equipment and O2 and all that kind of stuff. And it's a different life. It's a lot greater stress and responsibility, but the assets are overwhelming. And it's like reading a novel, like a crazy adventure novel. And you're looking at each other going, my God, we're living this. I mean, this is our lives. If only people knew. And so you just, if you have discipline about you, you don't ever write about it, and you just file that away and like, okay, we had a heck of a life here, man. Let's make sure we got good health care afterward and try to make the best of the years that are left, right? And have some fun with it. So that's why, I think it's a different flavor of life there.
Right. Yeah, I think you nailed it with money, right? I know that my experience, you'd go from what now they call the theater level, the regular, what we call regular teams, it's theater level to, national level. And money was the big differentiator. Money allows each guy to be truly a professional soldier. You can go and be the master of whatever you want, because there is no one that's going to tell you no, as long as whatever you're deciding to go train with, train, for, whatever it is, they will let you go do that. And they will let you spend that money all day long if it's going to make you better at your job at the end of the day. And then this support that you mentioned, it's phenomenal. You can't, I used to tell people, it's like, you're a rock star without the paycheck, because you're traveling awesome. You're getting to do all kinds of cool shit that most people pay to do. We're getting paid to do it. And you've got that support system in place that gives you that time to then professionalize the other things that are more important, like being a shooter or whatever your job is, being a breacher. If you want to be the most badass dude at combatives, you can do it there, because they're going to send you to Brazil and train with the people who invented jiu-jitsu. They're going to send you wherever you want to make you the badass that you should be. At the end of the day, that's exactly how it should be for every, unit. But that's just not the case, because it boils down to, like you said, money.
Yeah, I like the way you put it, theater level versus national level. That's a simple and concise way to put it.
Yeah, that's kind of new. As I was getting out, that was the terminology, and it makes sense. For those listening, the SEAL teams used to be broken up regionally into different theaters. Now they all go everywhere, but the theater level, usually working for GCC, or, you usually have a general or an admiral in charge of an area, and that area is called a theater. Therefore, when you deploy, you work for that person. Whereas at the national level, you work for the president or the Joint Chiefs of Staff, is really the short command structure there. But anyway, yeah, I love everything you said, and it's so accurate.
When the war kicked off, we went out onto ships and we're operating by helo, blowing up mines that were threatening the Allied ships, and literally physically dropping in and rigging those up with explosives and blow, getting swimming back away, bringing horse collar down from the bird, pulling back up into the helicopter, standing off, and letting the time fuse ignite that mine.
That's awesome. That's old school frogman shit. Yeah.
It was. And of course, when the captains of the ships would find out that we just blew a couple mines in their ship's path that day, they would feed us steak and lobster, me and my buddy Dino. And Dino and I worked together throughout that campaign at Team One, and that was satisfying work. And then we not arrested, but we captured the first prisoners of that war on islands and on oil rigs and sinking ships. There was one time where there was an oil tanker that was modified with a bunch of weapons systems, Iraqi tanker, and they were shooting at the fast movers, the Allied fast movers, on their inbound bombing runs toward Baghdad. And so they called us in, and when we flew in helicopters, the sky was black, so there was a ceiling at only several hundred feet. And we had to fly under that. It was strange, man, like a black blanket across the sky.
Yeah, just Saddam lit all the refineries, you name it. He lit everything on fire, right?
Yeah, but in this case, it was a ship that was burning, and so all this blackness was coming from one ship, and the ship's back was broken, and it was slowly sinking. And so we dropped down below that black cloud layer was flying beneath that, test firing our M14s. Most of us at Team One, we preferred carrying 7.62. So in those days, it was either an M4 or an M14. So we were carrying 14s. We test firing those things. Dunk, dunk, dunk. Okay, we're good. Make sure everything was ready to go, and then drop it into the water and swimming up. And these guys jumping over to the sides of the ship, and we were capturing them. Dino, I'd pull my pistol out. Dino would grab him around the head with a knife. And I would holster up my pistol and search the guy and zip tie his hands in the front and pull him away from the others and pull the horse collar down and send him up. That's how we started capturing these guys. And
wow,
it was interesting, like right in their face kind of stuff. And
yeah.
One guy, it got a little sporty. He was on an overturned wooden lifeboat, white wooden lifeboat. He didn't have his shoes on. He had this big life preserver on. And Dino was waving at him to get off the lifeboat, and he wouldn't. And come to find out later, he was just scared. But Sam opened up and raked him with water from the M60 from the helicopter. He just kicked the door gunner off for a second, went and just gave the guy some incentive, like get off the damn boat. And when the guy fell over, Dino grabbed him, and I swam up to start searching him, and I went to go lower myself in the water to start searching his legs, and he threw his legs around me, clamped down with almost like a jiu-jitsu fighter would, just like locked around me.
Yeah, I got you into the guard.
Oh no, dude, no. Yeah. So I just relaxed, and I slid down and I pulled up my knife from my leg. I had a dive knife on my leg, a skeletonized little Techna knife.
Yeah.
I came up with that, and I put it right up under his gut, and I came up out of the water and grabbed him. Like, dude, I've got you. I can split you from nuts to neck, or you can throw your legs off of me, which it's going to be. And he relaxed his legs, and I threw him off of me, and he stayed calm. And I kind of like, don't let that happen again. I put it back away, and we were fine, And so we processed him. Later, he was a little bit of a problem in the bird, and I ended up basically taping him up almost mummy style. But that was interesting. I never thought I'd need underwater hand-to-hand skills, if you will. I mean, it was.
You did an underwater combat fighting. Look at you.
To a mild degree. I mean, I'd already had his hands zip tied in the front, so it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't full on, but I mean, if I didn't know what I was doing, he could have drowned me because he just clamped his legs around me as hard as he could.
Wow. That's
But
good
he
stuff.
was trying to get his head above water.
Right.
So I just told D, I said, Dino, raise his head a little more.
Yeah,
And
he's
the
drowning.
guy raised his head a little more. That's when he settled down. So I'm like, okay, he's just scared.
You're listening to Can You Survive This podcast? Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and share on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows.